Well, hello everybody, this is Tim Green with Rattle Magazine. Welcome to your critique of the week for Friday, November 6th. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, please do turn your phone sideways if you're watching on a phone. Click on full screen if you are on a desktop, and if you have the capability, click the little gear wherever you're watching this and turn it up to HD. Also, you can read along as we go and see the poems as clearly as possible. As always, the critique of the week is not just about my opinion or something about poems, but it's about sharing all of our thoughts and helping out a poet once a week in this sort of roundtable critique type tradition that works so great in an MFA program. We try to bring that to everybody here live and for free every Friday. So I'm so glad you could join us. Is there anything else I should say? I guess not. Let's dive into today's poem. Here we go. We have two poems by Sioned Curoe. Oops, wrong button. There we go. And the first is this. This is Sioned Curoe in a letter to Tampere. And I'm not sure. I had to look up I'm not sure if I'm saying it right either. Tampere? I assume that's the city in Finland. I'm not sure. It could be a name too. So that's one of the things I was confused about before we even start. So maybe if somebody knows what that might be, except for the city in Finland, let me know, because I'm not quite sure. Now let's see. Here we go. A letter to Tampere. I could write 100 lines to your body, to your lump of gray matter delivering the wrong chemicals, your eyelids, fragile and twitching in uneasy sleep, your bronchioles swollen, struggling for air in a world looking to kill us a little harder than usual. We are so rooted in our bodies, in the cortisol seeping through our blood, reminding us the danger is out there, that our hands turned to other tasks, the spin of a wrench, soapy dishes, do not distract us from waiting, aching, under the weight of worry deep enough to drown in. And in writing for you, all my words have disappeared. No turn of phrase can comfort you. You who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary but will always return. And I say to your sorrow, to the gray thoughts of grown jagged, to the scrape of lifting your heavy feet as you plod through one more day, to the 100,000 words and 4,000 miles between us, we can still walk together. Yours. So that is in a letter to Tampere. And so now that you read the poem, you can kind of understand my confusion as to, like, is this a person or the place? I'm not sure. I'm not sure who letters. So that ends up being a question. You know, it started as a good title because it sort of makes us wonder. But then it's never really resolved, I don't think. So I'm not sure. I take it. Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be a name that's just not very common. Or it could be the place. So let's see. Is anybody saying this? Does anybody have any idea here? The town in Finland, says Carlton Johnson. Tampere, says Diane Knox. So that's how to pronounce it. So I guess we're assuming it is the city. And it's just very, very personified in the poem. Which is, I mean, that's the way I read it, but I'm not sure if I'm reading it wrong or not. But I love the throughout, and somebody already mentioned it, I think. I know Carlton Johnson mentioned that he loves the medical images, which I love too. But I was going to say, I love the pacing and the rhythm of this poem. It's a fun poem to read out loud because the author here has a great grasp of just the music of speech and the way to turn phrases and twist them on themselves and let them come out in a rhythm that feels very musical. And I think that worked really well. I could write 100 lines to your body, to your lump of gray matter. See, so this whole city, or is it a person, confusion? I could write 100 lines to your body, so I'm thinking that could still be the city. But then to your lump of gray matter, delivering the wrong chemicals, then I'm thinking it's a person again. And it never resolves for me. And when a poem has that kind of ambiguity, which is just who's actually being written to, it's harder to connect to the poem unless it's done in a way that sort of it works both ways at the same time. And it's possible to do it where that kind of what specifically is this poem a letter to is sort of never resolved, it can sort of live in both worlds, like a Schrodinger's cat kind of poem. That can work really well sometimes, but that doesn't really go on here in that way. Like, there's nothing gained by not knowing who this is to. Instead, I feel just distanced from it. So I just want to know more. I want to know, like, who this is really a letter to. Is this really a letter to the city? I don't know. Your eyelids, fragile and twitching, uneasy sleep. Your bronchiole is swollen, struggling for air. So if it is, we're assuming kind of that it's the city. And you could, like, hint at that, if that's what it is, here. Like, you know, you're describing in an anthropomorphized way, right? So it's your bronchiole is swollen. But if you slipped in like something about streets or something, then we could know that it's a metaphor and you're still talking about the city. Otherwise, it's ambiguous in a way that's really hard to connect with, I think. Struggling for air in a world looking to kill us a little harder than usual. And this is what I wondered too. Sort of the same thing, except instead of hint at who, hint at what? Like, what's trying to kill us a little harder than usual? I don't know. I never really grasp that as I'm reading the poem. Even though I read the poem and I enjoy it, and I really love the rhythm and the music of it, I'm having trouble just connecting with it because I can't seem to follow it. We are so rooted in our bodies, and the cortisol seeping through our blood, reminding us the danger is out there. So who's the we? You know, we go to the you. You know, there's the letter. So there's the I speaking, and there's the, or no. Yeah, so there's the I speaking who is yours, and the you is how did Diane say it? Tempere? So are we together, rooted in our bodies? Is the we like a we general? Is it like all of us, like me too, the reader? Or is the we just the I and the you? I'm a little, that's a little ambiguous too. Are so rooted in our bodies and the cortisol seeping through our blood, reminding us the danger is out there, that our hands turn to other tasks. The spin of a wrench, soapy dishes do not distract us from waiting, aching under the weight of worry deep enough to drown in. That's very nice. I just don't know how to connect to that emotionally. And in writing for you, all my words have disappeared. No turn of phrase can comfort you. You who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary, but will always return. This is just great writing here. I really like this a lot. Probably my favorite section of the poem. You who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary, but will always return. And I say to your sorrow, to the gray thoughts grown jagged, to the scrape of lifting your heavy feet, as you plod through one more day. This is excellent too. To the 100,000 words and 4,000 miles between us, we can still walk together. This is great too. I love the ending. I really love this whole last stanza. And I wondered too if you could get away with cutting the first two and keeping it a really short poem. What if it was just in a letter to Tempere? And in writing for you, all my words have disappeared. See how it's already like jumped in? I think that might work. And in writing for you, all my words have disappeared. An alternative phrase can comfort you. You who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary, will always return. And the other thing with this part is I don't have that same problem because of all the, the chemicals and the eyelids and the bronchioles, which are hard to imagine a city having unless you're sort of like, what is the bronchiole a metaphor for? Like, what does it represent within a city? So that these two stanzas have that problem where it's sort of too much a body to sort of have it be both. And I don't know. But if you jump right in here, you don't have those kind of issues. You can kind of, it's a little, the bodily forms in the second or third stanza, I should say, are more abstract in a way that could fit a city or something. And being short, you're not like, when the poem's short, you sort of give it more leeway to have to sort of jump along with it, if that makes sense. And so I wonder if just the last stanza on its own would work. And writing for you, all my words have disappeared. No turn of phrase can comfort you, you who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary, but will always return. And I say to your sorrow, so the city is sorrow, to the gray of your thoughts grown jagged. I can imagine, city buildings being jagged, to the scape of lifting. What is escape? Maybe I think I read that as scrape the last time. So in botany, escape is a long leafless stalk. I think maybe that's just a typo. Let's see. Yeah, they're just talking about plants, a flower stalk, the shaft of an animal part. So the scape. Yeah, I think that might be scrape. I think that might just be a typo. Of lifting your heavy feet as you plod through one more day to the 100,000 words and 4,000 miles between us, we can still walk together. I think that works on its own. That's my main suggestion, I think. Just scrap that. Have it be a short poem. But let's see what everybody else is saying here. Let's see. Finland, 4,000 miles away, says Dan Knox. And yeah, that's the thing. It feels at this end like you're 4,000 miles away from home in Finland. But the issue with imagining the city being a body like that is tough to do in the rest of the poem. So Cynthia Sims says it's a person, whereas other people have thought it was the city. So that's the thing, that we don't really know. Kathy Gibbons says, is it COVID? Bronchiolas make me think so. So two people. This is a COVID poem. That's something that didn't even occur to me. Cortisol sleeping through your blood, reminding us the danger is out there. Is the danger the COVID, that our hands turn to other tasks? I'm not sure. Maybe. The uneasy sleep, your bronchiolas swollen, struggling for air, looking to kill us a little harder than usual. Oh, so maybe that is a COVID poem. Yeah, I guess good. I didn't read it that way. But that could be what's struggling to kill us a little harder than usual. If so, I think it's a little too much of a leap. And maybe, during COVID and is part of the title. Or put the date there. So that we know, where to set it in time. Yeah, that's interesting. How does that change the poem? Let's see. We're so rooted in our bodies. Cortisol seeping through our blood, reminding us the danger is out there. So the cortisol is the anxiety of COVID in this interpretation. Our hands turn to other tasks to avoid, to distract us from waiting, aching under the weight of worry, deep enough to drown in, so the worry would still be COVID. And in writing for you, all my words have disappeared, so writing for the city again, no turn of phrase can comfort you. You who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary but will always return. And I say to your sorrow, to the gray of thoughts grown jagged, to the scrape of lifting your heavy feet, as you plod through one more day, to the 100,000 words and 4,000 miles between us, we can still walk together. I'm not sure how the end fits in that interpretation that it's COVID. Let's see. So a bunch of people are saying that it's a COVID poem. Like a sick person in tempere. I'm Sharon Coate says that. Yeah, so everyone's saying a pandemic poem. Let's see. So the person is in tempere. Two people separated by quarantine of COVID. The danger outside, says Kathy Gibbons. Yeah, I guess that's a... Yeah, so I guess we're all coming to that conclusion. Thanks for the input, everybody. Mary Jean Carter actually thought it was clear. Doomed. I really like this poem. Let's see. Sharon Ferrante suggests I could write 100 lines, maybe the title. Yeah, I did like that first line, and that could be a good title. Yeah, so all I really want is a little more clarity in this poem. I guess everybody pieced together that it was about the pandemic. Maybe it was just me that assumed it wasn't, and it was clear enough. I don't know. I didn't read it that way at first. So I think just some sign in the title that's what it is, and I think also calling it the letter to tempere was the confusion, because if it was someone in tempere, then it would be easier to follow the poem, I think. So maybe just the title, a new title that reflects what you want, that gives the details during COVID, and it's letter to someone in tempere instead of the letter to the city itself, which was my confusion. So maybe that's the issue. But then if that is, what about the ending? Why? Let's see. So in writing for you, all my words have disappeared. So that all makes sense. No turn of phrase can comfort you. He who lies awake, who knows the dark is temporary, but will always return. And I say to your sorrow, so it's the sorrow of being apart, to the gray thoughts grown jagged, to the scrape of lifting your heavy feet as you plowed through one more day, to the 100,000 words. Yeah, I guess that all makes sense if you just let us know that that's actually what's going on, and you can just do that in the title. So I think that's all there is to do for that poem. And thanks everybody for the people who pieced it together and figured that out. I think maybe partly I sort of we get so many pandemic poems that I don't want to read a poem as a pandemic poem unless I know for sure that it is, because it's sort of a default right now. Anyway, let's see the other poem. And once again, this is Sioned Curoe with Horaith. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Let me look that up. Horaith. Let's see. So it's a Welsh word for homesickness or nostalgia, an earnest longing or desire or sense of regret, the feeling of longing for a home that never was, a deep, irrational bond felt with time, era, place, or person. So it's sort of a homesickness for maybe a place that never existed. And that's her. I don't see a phonetic pronunciation. Let's see. Hearith. Okay, so we got I don't know if you heard that audio. Hearith. Okay, so here we go. Your hand is empty again. Something slow and soft rumbles from the dark water. You hear the Cheshire sing sharp across the logs. A night susurrus of cricket legs run against each other. The wheel of this year keeps turning without you. The great whirl of stars, only streaks of light in your vision. Someone reaching out for you, but only empty air. You tell the crickets about the home you've forgotten. No weight to shape your father's smile. No words for the stars stretching into ribbons of cold blue overhead. Your mother's favorite lotion, a passing scent, then gone. That's our second poem. And I already forgot how to pronounce it. Hearith? So, your hand is empty again. So I like learning new words, so it's cool to learn that word. I like having to look stuff up when I read a poem. And since it's a new word, it makes for a cool title. Unless it's so common that I'm the only one who doesn't know what that word is. But, let's see. Yeah, and so... Yeah, so I like this poem a lot. Your hand is empty again. Something slow and soft rumbles from the dark water. Again, we get this beautiful music, which we had in the first poem, even though it was there was sort of a missing link where I had trouble establishing the connection emotionally to the poem. There was still a really nice pacing and a nice music, and it's even better here, I think. You hear the Cheshire sing sharp across the logs. A night, I don't know, another word I'm not sure how to pronounce, susurrus of cricket legs run against each other. And of course, that's like like a whispering, like murmuring susurration. Yeah. Doing live video, you let people know how terrible you are at knowing how to pronounce words. The wheel of this year keeps turning without you. I like that. This is great. I love this line. Maybe my favorite in the poem. It's so simple, but powerful. The wheel of this year keeps turning without you. That great whirl of stars, only streaks of light in your vision. That's great too. Someone, I don't know, that's a beautiful image. And really well said too. Someone reaching out for you, but only empty air. That one is a little bit, it doesn't live up to the other two sort of couplets in this poem. So I'm not sure if maybe there could be a more interesting way to say this line. And it's not that it's a bad line. Oops. Way to say this. It's not that it's a bad line. It's just that the other two are so good that I don't think this reaches the same level. It needs something a little more interesting, like some little like hook or something, to live up to the other couple lines, because they were just so good. You tell the crickets about the home we've forgotten. No weight to shape your father's smile. No words for the stars. So we get stars again. And I wonder if that just sort of takes away from these wonderful lines up here, I think. The stars stretching into ribbons of cold blue overhead. So maybe it could just be like no words for the cold blue overhead. And we can just get rid of this because, again, they're such great lines that you don't want other lines detracting from them, like not living up to the quality. You want, consistent, amazing quality if you can pull it off through the whole poem. And so maybe just cut that and keep that. Your mother's favorite lotion, a passing scent then gone. I really like the ending too, but in this very similar way, a passing scent then gone is sort of redundant. So you could have either just, you could have just a passing scent and leave it there because it's passing. It's gone. Or you could have a scent then gone, which I think I would prefer. So I would probably cut the passing. And then just, your mother's favorite lotion, a scent then gone. And then the gone can have the full power because it hasn't been said yet. Like there's a big transition here, right? So if it's a passing scent that's gone, we already knew it's passing. So the gone isn't as powerful as it is if we don't know yet that it's passing. So, reveal that last to get the powerful ending there. But that's a great, metaphor for this feeling, which is the title. So I really like this poem. Just a few little tweaks for me, and I think this one's good to go. Let's see what other people are saying, though. And James Cicillo says, then gone, not needed, so we're saying the same thing. The stars image, this is Mark A. Grenier. The stars image reminds me of sky pictures taken in time, exposures where the stars are streaks across the sky. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Is the person addressed the mother? That's what I thought, too. Fran Smith says, the scent of mom, definitely Hiraeth. Yeah, I really like that. And it's really touching, too. Mark A. Grenier says, is the person addressed an astronomer? Sharon Coate, I'd take up favorite, too. It doesn't add the rest. It doesn't add and the rest is lovely. Where's favorite? Oh, your mother's favorite lotion. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Take out the favorite too. Good suggestion, Sharon. Yeah, you don't need that. Just see how much more powerful this little stanza is if you just say your father's smile, no words for the cold blue overhead. Your mother's lotion, a scent then gone. Well, I don't know. Favorite might be nice. I don't know. I guess I could go either way on favorite, but the condensing that. Because the feeling is evoked so well with that scent then gone. Or a passing scent. Maybe a passing scent can work too. And cut the then gone. And you just kind of play with what feels better. Let's see. Yeah, so Mary Dean Carter says really nice poem. And I agree, yeah. And Tierra Paulson said the same thing about this second stanza. She loved this, but the empty air line felt too... familiar and bland. Yeah, that's a good way to put what I was trying to say. Mark A. Grinner says the empty air line could be something like grasping only empty air. I think it's not the way the image is said. It's the it's sort of just the familiarness of that image, you know? So you have to do something unusual to it. Like instead of empty air, it can be something else that's like empty air, but to make it a different image. Because it's actually the image that's sort of, I mean, cliche is not the right word. And trite, it's not really trite, but it's just something that's not, you know, original and unique, like that, you know, that idea. But if you can turn it to something from empty air, I'm not sure what, but maybe something that sort of evokes the mother or something, you know, or reaching out into something. Like, you have to change the image to make it interesting if you're going to keep it, I think. Let's see. Are there any other comments? Yeah, just people like this a lot, and I agree. And Kathy Gibbons mentions how much she likes the word ribbons. Where was the word ribbons? I'm not seeing it. Speaks. Oh, the stars stretching into ribbons. Okay. Ribbons of cold blue. Yeah, you know, when I said getting rid of the stars, I shouldn't have got rid of the ribbons. Keep that. And, you know, ribbons of cold blue. Your father's smile, no words for the... Something like that. But ribbons of cold blue overhead is good. Just the repeating of the stars is something I would avoid. Let's see. Sharon Ferrenti says, I'll reach out through memory of air. Hey, that's a good suggestion for the kind of thing we're going for sure. Yeah, like it's just something different, something that's unusual and surprising. Let's see. I think that might be all we have to say. There's just 2 good poems, really well written, and a few tweaks to each, and I think they'll be good to go. So 2 good poems. Thanks for sharing them. Once again, that was Sioned Curoe with High Wraith, if I'm saying that right again, and then a letter to Tempere. And appreciate that. So that is your Rattlecast for, not Rattlecast, that was your Critique of the Week for Friday, November 6th. Hope you enjoyed it. Next up on the Rattlecast is going to be, well, first I'll say we are doing the open mic show, of course. That's going to be the usual time, Sunday, noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, for all of your poems about current events, and boy, are there current events going on, aren't there? So have your poems ready, call up and share them with everybody Sunday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Then on next week's guest on the Rattlecast, as I started to say awkwardly, is Fiona C. Lorraine. And look at the time. Oops. Oh, I didn't change it on that graphic. I need to fix that. Yeah, so it's not going to be... Oh, wait, no, I did change it on the graphic. Gosh, I'm all over the place. Yeah, so 3 p.m. Eastern time instead of 6. It's 3 hours. No. Yeah, the time zones are all screwing me up right now. Okay, let me reset here. It's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern time, 6 hours before the regularly scheduled time. Noon for me on the Pacific, on the West Coast. That's Tuesday, November 10th, because Fiona, she's a poet born in Singapore. She lives in France now. So 3 p.m. Eastern time is 9 p.m. for her, which is, you know, right before bed, a good time for the show. So that is the time that we are doing. That is 3 p.m. Eastern time, noon Pacific time, Tuesday, November 10th. Fiona Z. Lorraine. She is a renowned harpist. She is a poet, of course. She's a translator of Chinese poetry. So we have a lot to talk about. Should be a really interesting show. Her new book is Rain in Plural. And the prompt for this week is write a concrete poem. That's a poem that's shaped like something that relates to what the poem's about. So I think everybody knows what a concrete poem is, so I'll just let it go with that. But write a concrete poem for the prompt, and the open mic will be after the show with Fiona Z. Lorraine. That is Tuesday, November 10th at the special time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you have a great weekend. See you soon.